Good morning, everyone. Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritsma here, alongside just myself. And welcome to this morning's briefing. It is currently just past 11. Let me know if you guys can hear me. And we'll go ahead and get started with our outlook from the Storm Prediction Center that came out last night for both days. So again, for those who have missed it over the last couple of days, I should say now, we've had severe risks pending up into this weekend, and they'll be in effect for today. And tomorrow, Sunday, will be a nice clear day. Go ahead and get started with the day one outlook, latest one from the Storm Prediction Center here. Goes to show you, I'm actually going to take off the warning bar real quick so you guys can see the full thing. There we go. So here's your latest SPC day one outlook, showing thunderstorms across, or severe thunderstorms are possible across much of southern and central Michigan this afternoon into the overnight hours today. Highest probabilities are right where that slight risk is nudging into southwest Michigan in the yellow zone. So that's from Muskegon to Grand Rapids over towards Charlotte and down towards Coldwater and points to the west. The reason being is because we do have a projected swath of damaging winds coming in tonight through a system that is going to move in from, right now it's over in Iowa right now, and it'll be moving over to this side or into our state later tonight. There's a tornado risk with embedded tornadoes possible. Main hazard here is going to be damaging winds though, and a lower end risk for some hail. I'll also show you guys our latest maps we posted this morning on our Facebook page at 10 o'clock here in just a second. We're also going to dive into tomorrow's outlook, which you can see has shifted a little bit further east. As mentioned in last night's live stream, we saw some of the models starting to hit at maybe starting a little bit later to the east and missing out more in terms of the West Michigan action for Saturday. So again, West Michigan kind of dealing with that drought right now, so nevertheless needs some rain. Severe weather though most likely in the yellow zone here as we get into Saturday. Reason being, same risks here. It's going to be damaging winds leading the way, followed by hail, and then followed by a tornado threat. We're going to go ahead and go into our Storm Prediction Center, or sorry, not our own in-house MSC graphics here, not affiliated with the Storm Prediction Center. You can see we've divided this into two zones. Here's the reasoning behind that. You can see there's a level 2 zone on the east side of the state, and then there's a level 3 zone for the west side of the state. The level 2 zone over there in the east side of the state is due to what we believe is this batch of showers that's moving through the Lansing area as we speak right now. It's associated with an MCV, mesoscale convective vortex, so it's like a localized area of low pressure that induces spin. And if you get instability, showers and storms will pop up. The more instability we get into the afternoon hours, as the sun comes out, fuels that atmosphere, we could see this turn into somewhat of a strong to severe storm chance as we move over to the east side of the state. So that's why we put in that level 2 zone. I will say this right now. This might be the east side of the state's only shot for severe today. That's all I'm going to say. Again, with the second line, which is supposed to be coming in later tonight off to the west, the trajectory of that right now is moving off to the northeast, so it'll probably move it up into central Michigan and not as much into eastern Michigan. So keep that in mind. This morning showers, which will make it all the way over to the east side of the state here into the afternoon hours, really after 4 o'clock, but it could start a little bit sooner depending on how much heating we can get in a little bit sooner than 4. We could see some severe in the thumb region primarily, as well as the I-75 corridor from Saginaw down to Detroit. And obviously anywhere you see the blue risk, the level 1 risk, you also have the probabilities to see severe weather today. Granted, it is a lot lower than the counterparts around it. And again, as mentioned, the west side of the state would be round 2, so that would be later tonight, really primarily after 6 o'clock at the earliest I've seen. Models are starting to show it starting even later at night and even closer to the midnight time frame. So we'll keep an eye on that here as we go into the model runs here in just a second. Here's the tornado threat that we have projected for you guys. Again, just a broad area of low odds, 1 to 3% chance that a storm would produce a tornado, so it's more like a 97 to 99% chance that it doesn't. So good news there. It's a pretty low risk. Severe winds obviously going to be leading the way, as you can see there. It's what triggered the level 3 range. And again, severe winds start at 60 miles per hour. We move into the hail risk, also kind of confined to the West Michigan, Southwest Michigan side of the state. So it kind of lines up more with the Storm Prediction Center today than it did yesterday. If you remember yesterday, the Storm Prediction Center had the slight risk, pretty much the entire 3 rows of counties of southern Michigan. They've since trimmed that back, whereas we had a level 2 risk, the low risk, and we had that lip shifted further north, which looks like it could be the play today. It could be a little bit further north in the 94 corridor we'll have to see as the storms develop in the afternoon hours. If there's any residual boundaries that get thrown off the back end of the storm, we'll watch for those as well. We're also going to take a look at this outlook once again from last night. Again, we do have this outlook updated. It is on Patreon right now if you guys want to check it out. If you are on Patreon, patreon.com/Michigan Storm Chasers. Otherwise, we have a new rendition of this map coming out at 2 o'clock this afternoon for everyone else. It's the same thing. We shifted this level 3 zone a little bit to the east. Again, with the models starting to depict maybe a further east start time, West Michigan might not get as much severe weather as previously thought on Saturday. And then up in the UP, that zone of level 2 risk is going to stay in place, I believe, due to the fact that we do have a secondary line of storms moving through the central UP over towards northern Lake Michigan, Beaver Island, and then it fades away as we get into Saturday night into Sunday morning. So 2 main lines. The front one's going to be the strongest, mainly on the east side of the state. So you can kind of predict that level 3 zone has moved over by about 50 miles to the east. That's what our next maps will show here when they get released at 2 o'clock. So keep that in mind. We're now going to go into what the models have done overnight in terms of projected reflectivity. We're going to start with the latest HRRR run for both days here. So keep this in mind. I'm going to go through both days on both models. We'll probably go through multiple actually. Let's go to precipitation. Precipitation and cloud cover. So out there, you might notice right now it is actually starting to get sunny across southern portions of the state, which could fuel stronger severe storms later this evening. Again, the more sunlight we can get, the more fuel and destabilization we can get in the atmosphere. So keep that in mind. The sun is very deceiving. So here's the projected reflectivity. You can see those showers and storms move over to the east side of the state. We could have a couple pop up that could be strong to severe. There's also a little bit of instability that will creep in, depending on how much sunlight we get down there in the I-94 corridor. We could see some more pop-up storms later today for southeast Michigan. Otherwise, this batch right here is going to pretty much be your only shot if you are in eastern Michigan for today. And you can see the main line moving onshore really late, honestly. This is showing well after midnight for West Michigan, and even points it a little bit further north than previously thought. So we'll also look at a model called the RRFS. It shows a little bit further south here. You can see that Boeing segment comes onto the lake, and it kind of gets shredded because of the later start time there. You can also look onto the east side of the state there for those cells that would be in the morning showers we can see here. So again, there's a lot riding on how much instability will be left as this line of storms moves in from the west side of the state, across Lake Michigan to the west side of the state late tonight. And that's why we have our time frame on our day 1 maps as 4 p.m. through 5 a.m. Saturday. So it could be a very, very late night for us tonight, tracking some severe storms possible. And then we move into the Saturday time frame. Here's what the RRFS has. It has those cells a lot further east than previously mentioned. So keep that in mind. West Michigan might get 1-2 skipped, I guess you could say, on a Saturday. So we might see further trimming of that severe risk for West Michigan as we get into tomorrow. As it stands right now, we're going to keep and hold on to that low risk. Just because you never know, it could wobble back to the west if this system tonight continues to slow down. So again, a lot riding on what happens tonight into tomorrow. So again, if it slows down tonight, that means severe is not as likely tonight, but it would be tomorrow. So keep that in mind. That beeping was a truck outside my apartment. Sorry. Also, yeah, that's RFS and the HRRR. Again, you can see the cells also popping up in the central UP. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and look at the FE3 as well, because that's another short range model we also use to distinguish where severe could be possible or where cells will pop up. In terms of this run, the FE3, which I believe has been more accurate lately than it has not been, it shows that moving in around the 10 o'clock time frame for southwest Michigan, with also some residual cells popping up off that front line later this afternoon into the evening. So again, the FE3 kind of goes, the word for it I'm not going to say, but it kind of goes crazy. And then obviously you see those winds move into West Michigan around midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So this is projected at 5 p.m. today, which I believe is a little bit slow. So this has all the action starting around 5 o'clock and later for the east side of the state, west side of the state, 10 o'clock and later off the FE3 run. Then we move into Saturday, and you can see all those cells popping up in the east side of the state, even a little bit further back to the west. And again, this model is showing a lot of cells popping up everywhere. This would start as early as maybe 10 a.m., but it looks like primarily afternoon. Here's 3, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. We really expect all this to be done by around 11 to midnight on Saturday night. So we'll back it up again to kind of go through the FV3. Here we go. I'm going to run it through here. This is about, there's about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Moving into the 10 o'clock time frame, that's when we could see it as early come on shore for Southwest Michigan. 11, midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and it really starts to fizzle out as we get past 2 a.m. Then we move into tomorrow. Here's 11 a.m. Midnight, sorry, noon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., and then it really goes away once you get to midnight. It really shouldn't be severe, honestly, past that 10 o'clock time frame. But you never know with how much instability will be out there tomorrow. It's going to be a hot one out there. Dew points in the 70s. A lot of moisture sticking around. And that's ultimately why we're going to get a lot of severe weather. So we have a decent amount of shear. So that's your spin. That's your directional wind speed and your spin in the atmosphere. We have a decent amount out there for some rotating storms. We have plenty of lift. We have a bunch of MCVs coming through the area. So mesoscale convective vortices, basically miniature areas of low pressure. In terms of instability, again, with the hot temperatures out there, the more hot it is, and the steeper the lapse rates. So if you think about it, it's really hot at the surface and it gets really cold up in the atmosphere. If that change is really great, that's a lot more instability available to use in the atmosphere. So we have greater lapse rates this weekend. And then lastly, we have a lot of moisture coming in, dew points well into the 70s for portions of southern and central Michigan. So we have all the ingredients of slim. There's not that much of a capping inversion. And again, as mentioned last night, oversaturation is a possibility, meaning we could see too many storms pop up and it would overwork the atmosphere, resulting in, we could have severe for like an hour max, and then it just turns into a giant washout essentially. So it uses up all that instability, turns into just one giant rain blob, which would be helpful for portions that say I need that rain right now. However, we could also see with how slow these storms are moving across the state. You saw it here. Again, this is as early as noon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those storms take forever to get through the state, and we could see a flooding risk develop on Saturday. Especially, we could see with these slow-moving showers today as well, some flooding in other already saturated spots. But again, primarily tomorrow, as there will be a slow-moving cold front pushing through the area. Obviously, emphasis on, or quotation marks on cold. It's middle of summer, but cold front nonetheless. And again, all the action will be done here as we get into the Sunday time frame. Could be a couple showers and storms popping up on the east side of the state that won't be severe. It'll just be normal thunderstorms. And then again, the next chance for any precipitation will probably start middle next week, probably around the Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. We'll talk about that once we get through this weekend here. Again, the main time frame for today is going to be really after 4 o'clock into the evening and overnight hours, as late as maybe 4 or 5 in the morning for the west side of the state primarily. Saturday, it looks like it starts around that noon to 1 o'clock time frame, and then it slowly pushes through the east side of the state between around that 1 o'clock time frame and maybe as late as 10 to 11. So it could be a lot of flooding and a lot of severe possible for the east side of the state, and that includes northeast lower up towards Alpena as well for your Saturday time frame. And again, Sunday, it'll clear out. So my advice, obviously, you don't have to follow it. It's ultimately your decision to follow. If you do not want to run the risk of a rainout for your plans on Saturday or today, especially on Saturday, again, bumping them back to Sunday would be a good idea. Again, all up to you. Just my personal preference. If I had plans this weekend, that's what I would do. Just in case, you never know. You don't want to run that risk, especially if you have a lot of people involved. So play it safe. You could bump it back to Sunday. Sunday's going to be a pretty nice day with temperatures in the 80s out there. Speaking of temperatures, again, we could be pushing 90 degrees tomorrow with how much instability will be out there. Even close to 95 in spots along southeast Michigan, where there'll be enough daytime heating to kind of get storms up and going. Other than that, I have talked the talk of all of everything. We'll go back to our latest day one outlook just to leave it on the screen. And I will go and turn to the comments here. This is usually where I would ask, Ryan or Drew to chime in with anything else, but neither of them are here today. So we'll go ahead and go into the comments now. We have also Sherilyn with a $10 super chat here on YouTube. Thank you very much for your donation and helping MSC operations 24/7. Again, all of these maps, if you missed these maps, again, they're all on our Facebook page. Facebook is Michigan Storm Chasers with the blue verification mark. We just hit 442,000 followers this morning. Feel free to follow along if you haven't. We also have fun times in here with a $20 super chat. Hi, MSC Mods, team, and family. Hope you all having a wonderful and safe Friday. MSC number one, thank you for all the hard work and stay safe, everyone. Thank you, Fun Times, for your contributions to MSC. Appreciate you very much. Thank you for watching this morning. I see my name. Again, I'm Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritsma. Ryan is out of the building today, but he'll be back for this afternoon. He's got you guys covered tonight for the state of Michigan for any severe weather. We're doing a trade-off today, so I've got the morning stuff, he's got the afternoon stuff, and then ultimately we'll be back together for tomorrow's severe weather that is looking increasingly likely. Yeah, obviously, if you do have plans that can't be canceled, or everyone is weather aware on Saturday, it's always good to be weather aware. So obviously, as long as everyone is safe about it and looking at the radar, looking at our posts on MSC, you have apps that can alert you, or weather radios, you should be fine to do your plans on Saturday as long as you have your wits about you. So once again, our day one outlook that I was just showing you guys here is posted on our Facebook page. It was posted at 10 o'clock. It should be the post right below this live stream, so feel free to scroll right down on our page once you click on it. The latest day two outlook is not out yet. It's on Patreon right now if you want to check it out on Patreon. We have about 900 of you that follow us on Patreon. Feel free to go check it out. It's totally optional, obviously. It'll be out for everyone else here around 2 o'clock. And again, this is concerning for Saturday. This level 3 risk has moved a little bit further off to the east than what is shown on yesterday's run for Saturday. So here's Friday. Take a mental note. There's Friday for you. And there's Saturday. There is enough spin out there this weekend for isolated tornado threat. But again, the main threat is going to be damaging winds. These are basically multicellular clusters that will be capable of strong downbursts or straight line winds. Either way, it's going to be gusty out there. And again, if we can get cells to pop up, then we also have a chance at seeing some 1-inch plus hail as well. Again, the lapse rates are fairly steep, and that change in temperature with height will allow the water to super cool into ice really quick, fall out, become heavy, turn into hailstones, and fall down. Should do a tutorial on the Midland Weather Radio. If you've got your Midland Weather Radio, there should be instructions in the box when you set it up. It's just a matter of, I believe, so here's what the Midland Weather Radio looks like. This is what we highly recommend here at Michigan Storm Chasers. It's about $50. You can get it at Walmart, Ace, other hardware stores as well. You can also order them on Amazon for your next severe weather event, so it's ready for the next time. Also, if you want battery backup, make sure to get 3 AA batteries as well, just in case power goes out. This is very useful. It's very loud. And I usually do a test once a week, so it's also very loud when that happens. But that's how you know it works. Also, there is like the menu button in here. It would say something along the lines of select the country, select the state, select the county, and then also set up your time so it's also accurate to the exact minute. That's the best advice I can give. Again, there's also tutorials on YouTube, but if in the future we have enough time, we'll put a tutorial out ourselves on how to set it up. It's just a matter of making sure your location's all properly set up. Once it is, tune into the nearest tower. There's, I think, 6 different channels you can tune in from that are all on like 162. It's 162 megahertz, something like that. Again, it's all different depending on what part of the state you're in, so you have to check depending on your location. Also, thank you, Paramom, for the $1 super chat. Appreciate you. Start selling weather radios? We just recommended to get them off Midland. They're not ours. Yeah, we also have a flooding risk. I will go ahead and X out here. You guys can... There's the moon from last night. It's not loaded. Give me one sec. There it is. So here's a rainfall outlook for today. Thank you for asking. Actually, this is through the end of the weekend, I should say. So this is where we expect the heaviest of rainfall to occur. Good news is it looks like it's going to be mainly West Michigan, Central Michigan, over into the areas that need it the most here in the Tri-Cities region. Again, that level 4 equals, as you can see at the top of the screen, around 1 to 1.5 inches of rain expected between now and Sunday. If you spread that out over across 3 days, that would be helpful because that way it has time to seep into the ground and not evaporate on top of the ground. If it all falls at once, obviously you're going to have evaporation and runoff. It's going to take that water away from the locations it falls. So a gradual 1 to 1.5 inches over the next 48 to 60 hours would be amazing for some of these locations of the state. We also, with these slow-moving storms, cannot rule out isolated pockets of 2 to 3 inches, maybe even more, anywhere in that orange dashed zone. Because these storms are moving at a snail's pace, again, when you have 50 to 60 dBz, that's all heavy rain falling, and it takes forever. It takes sometimes hours to get through the area, and sometimes trains backwards. That will result in at least 3 inches in some cases for portions of the state. We saw it last night in northern Illinois. Some places got upwards of 5, 6, even 7 inches again as those showers and storms trained over the same areas. We could see that definitely in Michigan as we get through today, and especially into Saturday when those storms are moving slowly across the state. Yes, this is what we do full-time. There's a couple of us on staff that are full-time here. I'm the chief meteorologist for Michigan Storm Chasers. We also have Ryan, who's the president of operations. He's also full-time. We have a bunch of guys that are full-time here at Michigan Storm Chasers. So, again, we're always watching, making sure that there's no severe weather out there. And if there is, we'll jump in at a moment's notice and go live for you, covering it from beginning to end. That is our motto here at Michigan Storm Chasers. So if you haven't followed along, make sure to hit that follow button or the subscribe button, depending on what platform you're watching on today. And as always, the best way to support our operations for free is to hit that like button as well. It helps you out, see our streams more, and as well as gets the videos out to more of your fellow Michiganders. Some apps you can get on your phone. I see Julie's talking about in chat here. I have the emergency app by the Red Cross. It's free to do. Again, it's just emergency. Just type that in your app store. You can set it up for custom locations. You can have your location. You can add also multiple locations. I noticed that I can't do a radius anymore, which kind of stinks. So it just picks the county that you're sitting in and alerts you for your county and maybe even the surrounding counties, depends. But it is there. You can set it for as many alerts as possible. One good thing about emergency app is if you accidentally leave your phone on silent, there are some things called critical alerts that will sound even if your phone is on silent, such as like tornado warnings, like volcano warnings, which we don't have in Michigan, and other major events. And you can also turn on critical alerts for any alerts that you want, so that way if you do have your ringer on silent, you want a severe thunderstorm warning to come across, there you go. And again, the FEMA app is also another option. I don't have it personally, so I can't speak on it from a personal perspective, but it is also an option for free weather alerts for your phone. Because again, as a reminder, everyone's phone is built in with wireless emergency alerts, so WEAs, but they only sound for tornado warnings, flash flood warnings, and the highest level severe thunderstorm warnings, which is level 3, aka a destructive severe thunderstorm warning. And destructive severe thunderstorm warnings are for 80 mile per hour winds and or 2.75 inch hail. So it doesn't sound for anything lower than that. So there's always severe going on below 80 miles per hour wind and 2.75 inch hail. So keep that in mind. That's why apps are a good substitute, because WEAs don't cover all of the alerts. 2.75-inch hail, I believe, would be baseball size. I'll look it up real quick. I think it's baseball. Yes, it is baseball. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, hail can really start to put dents in things at like 1.5 inches. So that's why we highly recommend, getting a weather app to alert you for lower end severe thunderstorm warnings. Again, if you missed our whole briefing, I just went through here at the first 10 to 15 minutes of the live stream, all the maps and whatnot. Again, they can be found on our Facebook page or our X page or Instagram page. All of them are options. Our username for all of our platforms besides Facebook is MI Storm Chasers. Otherwise, you can just type in Michigan Storm Chasers and you'll find our page pretty easily. Just make sure it's the one with a lot of followers. I'll say that, depending on what platform you're looking at. Any more? I guess we'll go through any more questions here. Yes, our severe storm risk for tomorrow semi depends on what happens tonight. If it slows down tonight, that means less of a chance for severe tonight, but more of a chance for severe tomorrow. If that makes any sense. Esquire, if you're asking about radar apps, says what is the best way to be sure about rain? On your phone, personally, I would just download Radar Scope. It is $9.99 plus tax or whatever, but it's a one-time payment. You get it for the rest of your life. Again, that equates out to probably like $0.01 a day if you use it for the rest of your life. So it's a good investment if you want raw radar data. I always mention this every once in a while. So if I pull up my radar here, I'll use this as an example. So we'll go ahead and look at these storms right now in the Lansing area. We have showers and storms. You can see on my radar that this is what's called raw data. It's every single pixel of rain that is falling at that location. This is accurate. This is the live data. This is not going to lead you astray. It also shows even down towards the lowest end of sprinkles on your radar. Now, if we switch on an option here called smothering, you can see how it becomes a lot more smooth. That's not as accurate data. It's basically taking like an average of the pixels around it and just mushing it together. So you can see, and this usually comes into play when you have like the very, very low end sprinkles. Sometimes it just gets rid of them completely. It takes out everything that's below 15 dBz and says, hey, there's nothing there, it's just air. Whereas if you look at a radar like this, there is definitely some sprinkles there. Here, for example, in Holt. And that's a good radar to use. Again, anything with raw data. That's why we say with our free weather apps, they come with radar, but again, it does what's called that smothering, where it just takes an area average of like the pixels and mushes them together and also gets rid of the lowest one. So if you're ever questioning why my radar app doesn't say this, that is because it's doing exactly what I just said. It's smothering the data and getting rid of the lowest pixels on there. So Radar Scope, just like my app here on my PC, doesn't do that. It shows all the way down to 0 dBz, which is the lowest of light rain. So highly recommend getting Radar Scope. There's other apps out there. I know Radar Omega is one. I think WeatherWise is one. I keep seeing that being mentioned. Again, but Radar Scope is the best bang for your buck if you're looking for an accurate radar app to use on an everyday basis. One of our mods, Hadley here. I would like option 3, no severe this weekend. Can I get that as a Prime Day special? Maybe. but maybe not. You can also download Radar Omega and Radar Scope for your PC as well. I think as long as it's like hooked up to your account that you use on your phone, I think you can get it just for free. I'm not 100% sure because I use a standalone app called GR2. It's only available on PC. It's also like $250. This is what this is. This is Radar. This is GR2. Gibson Ridge 2 Analyst is the full name. It's also the version 3. And again, it's a one-time payment of like $250 plus tax. But it is probably the best app you're ever going to get on your PC. Only the best for the best state of Michigan. You can see on this PC app, it also has base reflectivity, spectrum width, differential reflectivity, correlation coefficient, a bunch of different radars that we use as meteorologists that kind of distinguish what's falling in the atmosphere. Again, you can kind of experiment and look them up on your own. But again, they are there. You can have there's like 20 different radar options on both the Radar Scope app and the PC app, GR2, which I have. So we'll go back to our outlook here. Here's the day one. There's the rainfall map. There's last night's. So today's severe risk. Mental note, take a screenshot if need be. Otherwise, go ahead and check it out on our Facebook page and our other social media pages. That's today. Through about 5 a.m. this in the morning tomorrow, which is mainly going to be for this this western oval in Muskegon down towards the Niles on the west side of the state. East side of the state is going to be more towards the afternoon and evening hours with this first line that's moving down 69 and 96 right now towards Flint and Pontiac. And then we get into tomorrow. Again, as mentioned, I keep mentioning this, just for those who are just coming in right now, this is last night's map. We have a new map for tomorrow coming out publicly at 2 o'clock. It's already up for our supporters on Patreon. Here it was released at like 11 o'clock, so feel free to go check that out. So go ahead and go through the radar loop again. We're going to go to the FV3 because I think it has the best handle on things right now. Again, storms are possible for the east side of the state here, starting especially severe, starting around 5, 6 o'clock perhaps. Then we fast forward into 10 o'clock here. Those storms, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Excuse me. These storms do move from Illinois, Wisconsin over Lake Michigan to the southwest side of the state. That's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and midnight. Then we move to 1 and 2 and 3, and that's really, there's going to be no threat beyond like 5 a.m. overnight. There'll be a nice break, and then as we get into around the noon hours tomorrow, which is noon tomorrow, then we start to see these severe storms start to pop up again. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and you can see there's multiple bands here in the state. You have the main one in the lower peninsula, and you have a secondary one up across the central portions of the upper peninsula. Again, this is going to be about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock is really when it's going to be taking off, I think, in the thumb, and then it really starts to fade out once we get to 10 and 11 in the evening for you guys here tomorrow, and then we fade out for Sunday where there is not any severe weather expected. So Sunday will be a very nice day for most. So if you have plans this weekend that you want to reschedule to Sunday that are able to do so, feel free to do so. I'm not recommending. I'm not saying that you should, but if you feel the need to do so, you can go ahead and do that. Especially with, here's how the radar looks for any time past noon tomorrow, especially on the central and east part of the state. And again, West Michigan's a big question mark on whether or not these storms can fire up back off to the west or not. All depends on what happens tonight, if it can slow down considerably and result in no severe tonight, but widespread severe for tomorrow. Hopefully that makes sense. Slows down, it backs it up all into tomorrow instead. Also, a quick little lesson. I know there's been a couple comments on our Facebook page lately on how exactly do these maps work. So if you'll notice this post here, where'd it go? There it is. This post comes with 4 maps. So what's happening here is you have the main map, which is the center of your screen. So that's a combination of all three hazards together. It just gives you a general risk zone. You can use that just to kind of give you an idea of, hey, where the worst is expected to happen. The three maps on the bottom are individual hazard maps. So what's happening here is you see there's a level 3 zone on the main map for Southwest Michigan. That is there because either one or multiple of the hazards on one of the bottom 3 maps is also a level 3. It doesn't have to be all of them. It just has to be one of them. So in this case, you can see here is your severe weather outlook. This is a combination of the 3. You flip through the hazards. For tornadoes, it's not there. For hail, it's not there. But if you go to wind, it is there. And that is why the main map has a level 3 in that side of the state. So again, you can have a level 3 risk for your portion of the state without having, you can have a level 3 risk for your part of the state for one hazard only, while the other hazards are basically 0, and you're still in a level 3 risk on the main map. Hopefully that makes sense. That's the best way I can explain it. I'll maybe make it in video form sometime soon when I have the time. But again, on the fly, that's the best way to explain it for y'all. Again, this is the main map. You can see there's the level 3 zone in Southwest Michigan. And there it is in the wind map only. You also notice it works the same way for the east side of the state as well. You see in the thumb, there's a level 2 zone there. So you got to go scroll through the hazard and say, well, which one is triggering the level 2 risk here? Is it tornadoes? Nope. Is it the winds? Yes, it is. Is it the hail? No, it's not. So it's just the winds that's a level 2 for the east side of the state. Everything else is either a level 1 or lower. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, we get this question every once in a while on our severe weather posts on Facebook, and I figured I might as well just jump in real quick and let you guys know what exactly our thought process is behind it. The Storm Prediction Center does it the exact same way. If you missed the radar app, it is called Radar Scope on your app store. Again, that's going to be the best ground-based one. The radar that you're going to be using on Radar Scope is called base reflectivity, or super resolution reflectivity is what it's called now. That is your intensity of rain. So it looks like this on your radar. So you have the blues all the way up to the reds, and again, the hotter the colors on your base reflectivity or super reflectivity, the more intense the rain is, and perhaps even hail is falling at that location. So for example, you have the storm right now traveling down 96 between Dansville and Williamston with a lot of reds and some pinks mixing in, and that is due to some very heavy rain ongoing. So base reflectivity will always be your main radar. You can also dabble into storm relative velocity, which is your difference in wind directions and speed. It's kind of like the Christmas colored radar. You have the reds and the greens. That is all winds relative to the radar location that you're using. So reds will always be winds moving away from the storm or away from the radar site, and greens is heading towards the radar site. And again, where those colors mix together, that is usually where rotation is at. Now you have to kind of keep this in mind. Again, we do encourage you guys, if you want to become more weather aware and stuff like that, if you really want to kind of dive in to become maybe a weather enthusiast, definitely take some online courses on how to read radar, because again, just because you have reds and greens next to each other doesn't always mean there is rotation at that location. For example, here you can see there's reds and greens next to each other, but that is not rotation. That is just different wind fields within the storm at different levels that are kind of just existing and moving in different directions that are not tight into a rotational knot. And you also have to kind of keep that in mind, because the reds are on the north side here, radar's off to the west. It would be spinning clockwise, which everything in the northern hemisphere rotates counterclockwise. Anticyclone tornadoes are not unheard of, obviously, but again, this is usually a sign of downburst winds ongoing in a storm, is when you have these reds on the north side of a radar that's off to the west. It makes a lot more sense if you go and train yourself on radar, but that's a little bit of a crash course for y'all. Again, we do explain this a lot during our live severe weather coverage as well, so that you guys know what you're also looking at on radar. But again, right now there's nothing concerning, and this is the batch, as you can see on radar, that we're watching move over to the east side of the state later today that could perhaps produce some severe weather as we get into the afternoon and evening time frame. So again, this batch is moving very, very slowly, and it'll probably reform a little bit as it gets into the Flint I-75 region. Red Dozier with a $20 super chat just now on YouTube. Finally had rain this morning with bonus lightning and thunder. Thanks, Joel. No problem. I didn't conjure it up, but Maybe I put in a word. Who knows? West Michigan, though, definitely getting some much needed rain this morning. Hopefully you guys found that it was at least enough to turn the grass from yellow to green. If not, we do have some more rain moving in later tonight with the severe weather that is possible for southwest Michigan. Seeing as it looks like we're winding down here, we're going to go ahead and... Tigers game, definitely could be some delays, especially the next 2 days. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is, so it could be a rainy weekend. So plan accordingly, watch the radar, and watch their page for any delays there. We'll go ahead and go through our sponsors, our trusted partners here at MSC to wrap up the stream. As always, we can't do it without them. If we didn't have sponsors, we wouldn't be able to give back to you guys in terms of live severe weather coverage. You guys would be in the dark. So shout out to our sponsors. Make sure to give them lots of love and shout outs. Feel free to give them your business as well, as these are vetted partners. We did our background checks on them, and they are legit. So if we call your location of the state, you hear a location that's near you in the state, they'd likely cover your neck of the woods. So if you're not going to get severe weather today, maybe tomorrow, good idea to write down some of these numbers for future reference. If not, during live severe weather coverage, you can also reach out to us on Messenger for recommendations for who to turn to when it comes to severe weather damage. So again, that's what we have going on now during our live severe weather coverage. You can always reach out via Messenger if you have severe weather damage, and we'll point you in the right direction. With that being said, here are your sponsors of Michigan Storm Chasers, starting today with Storm Guard Roofing and Construction, based out of North Metro Detroit. It's Oakland, Macomb, Washtenaw counties primarily. Lifestyle Exteriors, pretty much the 127 corridor and then over to Traverse City, so Lansing to Traverse City. Katz Roofing and Siding, the I-69 corridor from Lansing down to Battle Creek. Pro Powder, for all of your powder coating needs around South Haven. Mike Hayes Roofing and Siding, based out of Sanilac and St. Clair counties. McKay Tree Specialist, for all of your tree needs in Southeast Michigan. Kuiper Tree Care, for all of your tree needs in West Michigan. FBI Buildings, for all of your barn dominium needs across the Lower Peninsula. On Top Roofing, all of your needs around the Livingston County area. Schneider Commercial Building Solutions, for all of your commercial roofing needs, based out of Lansing. Also based out of Lansing, Shield Public Adjusters, for all of your insurance claim adjustment needs. Also dropping down here to Top Gun Roofing Exteriors, based out of West Michigan. A-Class Construction and Restoration, based out of Mason County up there near Ludington. Sponsor of the day, Rainbow Restoration of West Michigan, based out of Kent County. Also have Rapid Radios, our #1 trusted partner for all of our two-way chasing communications, officially here at Michigan Storm Chasers. For any LTE wireless communications, you can also turn to Rapid Radios. And lastly, we have Guardian Technologies for all of your security camera needs in the state of Michigan and even out of the state. Turn to Guardian. Again, Guardian is our sponsor as well and our host for all of our live severe weather cams that we are hosting across the state. If you would like to become a sponsor as well, if that interests you, you have about 12 days to do so. We are cutting off applications very soon. We're filling up very, very quickly. Again, feel free to send us an email to either Chandler or Andrew. It's their name at michiganstormchasers.com. So it's Chandler at michiganstormchasers.com or Andrew at michiganstormchasers.com. Either one of them will reach out to you if you want to become a sponsor. Back to the camera thing. We are looking for more camera locations across the state, especially right now, West Michigan. We are still lacking in the West Michigan area. If that interests you around the Grand Rapids area especially, feel free to reach out. We're looking for camera locations. You can become a sponsor of one. And also, for anyone that's watching from the UP today, we also are looking for cameras up in the Upper Peninsula as well. So again, it's statewide. We cover both peninsulas, all 83 counties. We'll put a camera anywhere. Again, you can come and sponsor it, and we'll have your logo basically on the stream when we do use it. So feel free to reach out. Anything camera related also can be turned to Ryan at michiganstormchasers.com. If you forgot any of our names, feel free to go back and watch the stream here. I did mention them. Otherwise, our main contact email for anything business related is contact at michiganstormchasers.com. all that being considered, there is, again, no severe weather out there today. The briefing is wrapping up here. Ryan's got you guys covered for the afternoon hours. I'll be here for another couple hours, and then we'll trade off. And he's got you guys covered tonight, as well as maybe even Caleb will make a special guest appearance. So it could be the Caleb and Ryan show out there this afternoon. So tune into them. I'll be back tomorrow helping out with any severe weather coverage tomorrow as well. And no matter what, over the next couple of days, make sure you stay safe. Keep your head on a swivel. Make sure you're always watching the skies and watching the radar. And as always, tuning in to our posts here at Michigan Storm Chasers. We got you guys covered from beginning to end, no matter when severe weather strikes. Hope you have a great afternoon out there. Stay safe. Enjoy the rain if you need it. And we'll talk to you guys later, probably later this afternoon for some severe weather coverage. If not, we'll have another briefing for Saturday, probably sometime tomorrow morning. Probably around the same time, probably around 11 o'clock tomorrow morning as well for Saturday. So keep that in mind. Keep a mental note right now. Again, we'll talk to you guys later. I'm Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritsma, signing off for now. We'll catch you soon. Take care, everyone. And that's about it. Make sure you're following us on all our social medias as well. We are live simultaneously on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. I knew I was forgetting that. We're live on 4 platforms. So take care, everyone, and we'll talk to you soon.